you go to the ledgers of the one column cash book that we have just treated, we discover that these balances were extracted from the ledgers we have just treated. Now, our purpose is to be able to prepare the trial balance without drawing them directly from the ledgers. Question can come in this way. A lot of items will be given to you and the figures given, and you'll be told to extract a trial balance. What you need to know here is to know the receiving account and the giving account. Those that receives cash from the cashier has to be debited, while those that gives cash to the cashier has to be credited. This is the rule in the trial balance. And we know that assets and expenses are usually debited, while capital, income, and liabilities are usually credited. So from this, we are required to prepare a trial balance from the data above and show the value of capital. Now, the first thing we are going to do is to take these items into the trial balance. We already ruled the trial balance. We have the particulars, we have the debit, and we have the credit side, and the total column. This is the ruling of the trial balance. So, stationary traveling expenses, hire of plant, drawings, wages, purchases, rents, sales, cash, and capital. We will write all of them inside the particulars column and attach the figures that are involved, depending on whether the account is a debit account or whether the account is a credit account. Thereafter, we shall look for the value of capital. So we pick all the accounts: stationaries, traveling expenses, hire of plant, drawings, wages, purchases, rent, sales, cash, and capital, and post them to the particulars area. So we write the whole account here. Now we extract all the accounts into the particulars column of the trial balance. So you have the stationaries, traveling expenses, hire of plant, drawings, wages, purchases, rent account, sales account, cash account, and capital account. Now we attach the figures. Those that have debit balances should be put on the debit, while those that has credit balance should be on the credit side. Then we add the two sides to see the difference. We have stationaries on the debit side 100, traveling expenses on the debit side 300, hire of plant on the debit side 50, drawings account on the debit side 200, wages account on the debit side 80, purchases account on the debit side 4,700, rent account on the debit side 500. We have the sales account on the credit side 1,950. We have the cash account on the debit side 3,020. Then the capital account is not known. Capital balance is supposed to be on the credit side. So what do? We add the debit side and find the difference between the debit side and the credit side. The difference becomes the capital. So if we add the debit side of the trial balance, we have 100 plus 300 plus 50 plus 200 plus 80 plus 4,700 plus 500 plus 3,020. We have 8,950. If you minus 1,950, which is the only amount on the credit side, you minus 1,950 from 8,950, you now have 7,000. 7,000 becomes the capital balance, because the two sides of the trial balance are supposed to be equal. Since we have added the debit side and it gives us 8,950, and the credit side is just only 1,950, and we know that the debit side and the credit side of the trial balance are supposed to be the same. For us to get the balancing figure, we should represent the capital amount. We now minus 1,950 from 8,950. So we have 8,950 minus 1,950 gives us 7,000, and that becomes the missing figure for capital. And when we add the 7,000 here, you will discover that the two sides of the trial balance will now become the same. So we now have that the capital, which bears the asterisk, is 7,000. So if we add 7,000 plus 1,950, it gives us 8,950. That gives us the quality of the trial balance. Now, plenty figures can be given to you in an examination and you're required to prepare a trial balance. What you need to identify is just the accounts that are receiving and the accounts that are giving out. For instance, stationery, traveling expenses, hire of plant, drawings, wages, purchases, and rent account, they are all expenses account, and the cashier gave value to these accounts, and they are the receiving account. Therefore, when you conclude their recording in their various ledgers, they will be on the debit side. That is why we place them on the debit side. They are debit account. Then sales is a giving account. If you go back to our knowledge of cash book, you discover that sales is a giving account. It gave up $1,950 cash during sales period, and the cashier received it, and therefore sales account was credited. When sales account was balanced, the balance BD was still on the credit side. That is why you can see that balance still on the credit side. So when they give us this kind of question, they have already done the ledger works, the postings and the balancing, and extracted the figures, and you'll be required to prepare a trial balance. Remember we said that asset account and expenses account has debit balances, while income, capital and liabilities has credit balances.